I was nervous a lot because I didn't know what was going to happen.
I was worried. How am I going to see my family if I had the rights to see my family? Or if the person that I was going to be with was going to be bad or good? I had a lot of questions.
I was scared. I didn't know what the people would be like. I didn't know how they treat me. I missed my parents and all my family and stuff.
Why am I here in foster care?
I think it's important that children should know or kids should know what their rights are and what it would be like to go into foster care. Because if I knew that at first, I think I would have done a lot better.
Asking is the most important thing. Talking is the most important thing, and I can't stress that enough.
Hi, my name is Evan. Being a kid in foster care can be scary. I know because I used to be in one too, so are Mike and Demisha. And get this, every kid in this video is a foster kid too.
You're not alone. Sometimes when you're a foster kid, you wonder if you have any control over your life. I remember being scared and confused at first, but I had people around me who knew what my rights were, and they told me to speak up for myself.
Yeah, you might think it's your fault that you're here, but let me tell you something, it's never your fault. I know I was angry when I first went into foster care, but don't worry, there are things that you can do to make it much better.
Most foster homes are good, so are the parents, but you probably still have a lot of questions.
So, just in case you do, you should know that you might be a kid, but that doesn't mean you don't have rights. You do have a voice.
You can stand up for yourself, and you can also speak up for yourself.
That's what the tape is all about. Hear me out.
They always could have somebody to be there for them, and that foster care is not always that bad. It's good experience too.
It's cool, because, well, basically you get to meet new people and you get to experience something that you haven't experienced before.
Okay, so the first thing you're thinking about is your family and friends. Can you see them?
Where's my mom? Where's my father?
I was so attached to my mom, and I didn't eat or sleep or do anything for about a month.
What qualified me to be there?
In most cases, you have the right to be with your brothers and sisters. And if you're not together, you have the right to visit them, call them on the phone, and write to them. In most cases, you can also visit with your parents. And as long as you follow the rules at your foster home, you can call and see your friends. But what do you do when these things don't happen? What do you do then?
If you're not being treated fairly, then you should at least tell somebody.
I called our supervisor, and he was there, and I talked to him, and we kind of got some of the stuff settled.
You also want to be treated good when you're in foster care. Of course, like most families, there will be some rules you have to follow.
But most of those rules are about getting along with your family.
I talked to my foster mother about the rules, and we both could compromise on some of them.
TV thing, she didn't have a TV. That's the only problem she had, but most of the rules were okay because we really talked it out.
Being picked on by the parent. It'd be like, you're fat, you're chubby, or, whatnot. And it seemed like I was just being tag team, and I didn't know who to talk to, to get this to stop.
I took it upon myself, and I called all the people I needed to call. I wrote people.
You can't complain if they aren't treating you right. There are laws to protect you.
Yeah, and if you don't complain, no one will know there's a problem. Check this out. Your foster family can have some rules, like how much TV you can watch and how loud the music can be, or what time you have to go to bed. But you can go to your own church if you want to. Also, you can keep your own clothes and your own money you earn, and save it. It belongs to you. You also have the right to private phone calls and letters. I know it's hard to complain, but you have to do it. You deserve to get what you need. A lot of other kids have spoken up, and it's a good thing that they have.
You're not going to be heard unless you have the courage to speak up for yourself, and that no one's going to be always there to speak for you. So that way I think that it's good that you can learn how to speak for yourself and speak your mind, so that way other people can know how you feel and where you're coming from.
On my social worker's answering machine, she said that if we couldn't get in touch with her, we could call the boss, and that's how I did it.
Understand that it's okay to stick up for yourself.
You all have a right to medical care if you need it.
I was wondering when I would be able to get glasses, and also what the medicine will do to me, how it will affect me.
That was one of my first questions, can I keep seeing a therapist? Can I stay on my medications from before.
You have a right to see a doctor if you're sick. If you're near your doctor, you can keep going to them even if you're in foster care. You also don't need permission to see a therapist or a counselor for a little while.
School is important, so listen. You might have the right to go to the same school you were in before you went into foster care. And if you were in special ed before, the new school will probably give you the same program and services. Now, this next point I personally know a lot about. If you're a teen and want to go to college, DCF will pay for you. DCF paid for me.
I will get attached to someone, and then I have to end up leaving them, so it's kind of hard.
I suffered, by having to be taken out of that home and placed into another home, and I was heading into that life that I didn't want to go into from moving from home to home.
It made me feel like I was alone, and that even though I know I was my own person, I felt like, nobody's helping me and I'm all alone, and like nobody loved me and I was abandoned.
Where you live is important. Check this out. This is what you need to know. You can try to stay in the same city or town as you lived before. You can tell the court where you want to live. Ask DCF if you can stay with relatives. DCF will check them out to see if that would be a good place for you to go. And you know what? You have the right not to be moved around from foster home to foster home.
That's right, and here's some information you might need. When you're 17, you might be able to live in your own place under one of DCF's independent living programs. I did that. First, I asked if I could be placed in a foster home because I wasn't happy with my relatives. Then after the foster home, I asked DCF for my own apartment.
So did I. When I started living on my own, which they call the T-Lab program, everybody listened to what I had to say. You can ask DCF to look for an adoptive home for you if your parents can't take care of you anymore.
A couple of times, one of my DCF workers would try to come, but then she would never show, or she would come a couple hours late.
Sometimes my social workers would have a lot of other cases.
Sometimes I had problems getting in touch with my worker because sometimes either she was not in her office or she was out dealing with another child.
At first I had a problem because I couldn't communicate with her, and I had only saw her once, and I had been calling her for 2 weeks, and it was very hard to, contact her, so the best I did was call her boss.
Kids need to get more involved in their case. That's what I did. I started learning DCF rules to learn what's going on. That's what really helped me. And here's what you need to know. If your social worker doesn't call you back, you can call her supervisor. And if that doesn't work, keep going. Call her boss. The names and phone numbers for them are in the binder with this video. Don't give up. I didn't. I got real assertive. If your social worker doesn't ever come to see you, do the same thing. Call her boss or the next one up the line. If you're not happy, complain to your lawyer. They might be able to help you. Every foster kid has a lawyer. I have one. That's the person who goes to court for you and helps the judge decide where you should live.
When they first told me that about the court, I didn't expect they were gonna let me go into court with you guys, and it was pretty good because I got to talk to the judge and tell him, and he asked me what I wanted.
I knew my lawyer was a lady when I first got there, but then after a while we stopped having visits. She stopped coming, and she started procrastinating and stuff, telling me she would take me somewhere, but she never did. And then after a while, I guess she left, and I didn't know who my lawyer was.
I did go to court myself, and I think it's good for me so I could find out what's going to happen, and when is this going to happen, when is that going to happen.
My lawyer came up after meetings and stuff, and they would sometimes take you out and they would explain what was going on and try to be more reality to you.
Remember, the lawyer needs to hear what you want. It might seem a little weird because the lawyer is older than you, but don't be afraid to ask as many questions as you want. And don't forget to tell them what works best for you. Your opinion does matter. Make sure you read the little booklet that comes with this video. It will tell you what your rights are with your lawyer.
I got frustrated about my foster mother.
In one of my foster homes, I was getting abused, and I didn't want to tell anyone about it.
Most of the time, things like that just don't happen. First of all, no one is allowed to hit or emotionally abuse you. No one. Not even your foster parents or other kids in the house. If somebody hits or touches you in the wrong way or is mean to you, call your social worker or your lawyer right away. If you can't reach them, call the DCF hotline. That's the number on the screen right here. 1-800-842-2288. That number is in the book we told you about that comes with this video. Make sure you save it. Did you get all that?
I hope so. But just remember, you are not alone. You have a right to be safe and healthy.
Yeah, even when you feel hopeless, remember, you have rights. That's what helped keep us going.
There's a lot of people out there who will help you. Just keep talking and find someone who will listen.
Like your social worker, your lawyer, or a teacher.
So hang in there. You're going to be all right.
We're all in this together.
Speak out to everybody. If there's something wrong, I always have to speak up.
Tú también puedes hablar por ti.
Nothing's gonna get done if you sit there and keep your mouth closed.
It's important for kids to speak out.
Find someone who you really trust.
If you keep your head up, you can keep going and reaching for the stars and get what you want to accomplish.